And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to today's video where we are getting locked and loaded, ready to go for the latest Conquest character grind. Queen Amidala, or as the name I guess is going around lately, Quadme. We have our guide on how to tackle the Queen Amidala Galactic Conquest for the next 3 cycles, or you might be someone a part of the crew that's trying to finish up their Darth Bane grind. Well, I got good news for you. The Queen Amidala grind for this conquest is actually very reasonable. Yeah, there are stupid feats, there's a lot of stuff, but they're very manageable to do. And I think a lot of you guys, if you're around that 5 million GP threshold, you should be able to get gold crate, and we're gonna help you lock that in. If you're not as excited about Queen Amidala, you haven't looked at her kit in the top right hand corner. Long story short, initial impressions, at least in Grand Arena, I'm seeing a very obvious Lord Vader counter, not like we need one. I'm seeing a possible counter to Jedi Master Kenobi, maybe even Rey, due to the sheer amount of durability and the constant tank that keeps reappearing as a spawn. A lot of cool stuff cooking on here. But if you're not on a plan, you're planning like a noob, and we want to get you as close as possible to Queen Amidala or finishing up that Darth Bane grind. So let's get on to it, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully this is helpful. We pretty much do this every single conquest cycle to try to minimize the foolishness that goes on with conquest. So the good news is, when it comes to all the feats, they're fairly reasonable. Kind of some repeats from last time, like, you know, a lot of foresight spam, stuff like that. Obviously there are going to be some stuff that you're just plain out gated from doing, but overall I think it's going to be very manageable. So let's take a quick closer look at what we have here. Really, at the surface level, there are going to be a couple things that are really just popping up. Mostly they have a couple of conquest things that are just going to lock you out, which might make it more difficult for you to get access to the red crate. But all in all, there's nothing that's really should be holding you back from getting a gold crate, again, if you're around 5 million GP. So let's go kind of break down a few initial things before we really kind of go into the weeds of all the individualized sectors that we have. So the first thing is, how many key cards can you end up skipping when doing conquest? In general, this has really been kind of the golden rule. If you're going for red crate, we're assuming you're 3-starring all the battles inside of conquest. And if you 3-star everything, you're pretty much left off to get red crate. You could skip out about 34 key cards. And here are my recommendations based off what I saw that you might end up skipping. Some of these might be manageable for you people, but I'm kind of thinking worst case scenario, you might not have Boba Fett of Jango. You might not have Jedi Knight Cal. You might not have Dark Trooper Gideon, Darth Bane, Bo-Katan, Mandalore. Right there, you still have plenty of wiggle room left over. The stab feat looks to be the most annoying afterwards, but again, this is just my recommendation. I'm assuming there's so many different variances of rosters out there if you're going for the red crate. But if you can get Boba Fett sign of Jango, Jedi Knight Cal, all that stuff, you can skip out on other things. Again, you can skip out on a total 34 key cards, whether it's from global sector, or maybe there's a boss note that might be causing you complications. In regards to gold crate, for those that might not be able to go the distance to get the red crate, gold crate is the golden standard, my friends. If you can get gold crate the next 3 conquests, you're going to be at like 255 shards of Quadme. I don't know if I'm fully on board with the name yet. And of course, that's assuming you're picking up the scavenger stuff along the way in sector 2, 3, 4, and 5. What would I recommend skipping? Again, there is going to be so much variance in regards to what you should be skipping. So again, this is just me assuming, this is kind of me basing it off my 5 million GP free-to-play roster that I have. Sector 1 is gonna be fairly manageable. Sector 2, I don't really have Knights up and running, but it wouldn't be impossible to get them up and running. 400 plagues, that's not impossible. I'm sure a lot of you guys can do it, but again, that's just me kind of looking at my free-to-play account. Sector 3, if you don't have Boba Fett of Jango or the Tuskens, Momentum's just out of the question. Same thing of Purge, only Inquisitors have it, so that might be something you end up skipping. Boba Fett sign of Jango, again, the same things like the red crate recommendation. If you don't have a lot of these conquest characters, you might be SOL on that. Same thing as Sector 4, Jedi Cal Kestis, things that are very obvious, but when you look at a lot of the stuff, it's pretty standard. Galactic Republic, Rebels, Imperial Troopers, nothing too crazy, out of the ordinary. And even with these recommendations that I left, I only found like 104 key cards. I can skip a total of 128 to get that gold crate, as well as you. So again, look at your roster. If you're missing out on some things, just know if you want to get that gold crate, 128 key cards is what you're allowed to skip. And I feel like we're gonna have a lot of breathing room to hit that recommendation. All right, now another thing before we start getting into the weeds of all the different sectors, what are the recommended data discs? Unfortunately, thermal exhaust, amplify, agony, all the damage over times, the hyper accelerator, whatever it was called, gone, finito. They pulled them out, but When they do that, we end up finding something pretty good. I'm not sure if it's gonna be as good as Thermal Exhaust, but we're seeing Zealous Ambition make an ambitious return into Conquest. It looks like the meta for Conquest the next couple months is gonna be loading up on as much Zealous Ambition, try to get 3 of them, you can fit them in there, and then just finding DATADISK that just supercharge the durability of your team, whether it's Vitality, to Fortified, Entrench. We just wanna make us as durable as possible, eating up all the hits, and then with Zealous Ambition, characters like Yoda, Padme, anything that's a support or healer out there, they're gonna deal massive amount of damage, just nuke the opposing team. So this is what it seems to be, where we're heading. Hopefully you can get the good luck getting it. You know, the more of the good data you get, the easier Conquest is gonna end up being. So let's start going into all of the individualized sectors. Starting off with global feats. We want to start with global feats first because we want to make sure we try to tie in as much as possible the sector feats as we're going along. I will admit there's not many opportunities for us to kind of get in there and tie the global feats as much. There will be some opportunities, but also we have typical things like doing the golden challenge path, defeating 250 enemies, pretty no-brainer stuff. This one's kind of weird. It's defeat 600 B1 battle druids. Now I'm assuming there's going to be a boss node, maybe a mini boss node, or just sectors along the way where we will see General Grievous with B1 battle druids. Now the only thing I'm not sure of is this like actual like hit the B1 battle droid 600 times, or is this in regards to the B1 battalions where every time you hit the B1 you're removing 8 stacks? Kind of 2 different ways of interpreting it. So this one could be very annoying potential. We'll have to wait and see. But here's where things kind of get easy. You know, win 40 battles with a full squad of Galactic Republic, and then afterwards, you know, like for my free-to-play account, I'm probably going to skip out on a lot of these global feats. I can't do Kelleran Beck and IG-12. I don't have light side Mandalorians. I don't really want to deal with the stab shenanigans. Again, look at your roster. If you can afford doing most of the sector stuff, you might be able to miss a lot of the global feats. And I have a feeling if we can take a conglomerate of all the data, likely most people will end up skipping more global feats than sector feats, if I had to guess. So let's look at recommendations for the global feats, Gary. No, don't show them check the sector 1 stuff. Let's get into global feats. So again, the first one's gonna be kind of weird. We have to defeat 600 B1 battle droids, so a little bit out of your control. You can't like defeat your own B1s. You gotta find a B1 out there. So whenever we find B1s, we're gonna need to cheese it a few times. Now, Galactic Republic, I can list a bajillion trillion Galactic Republic teams. Obviously, you guys could as well. The most important thing is, as we're doing some of these sector feats, we want to try to tie in to whatever the sector's asking us. So there's gonna be some defense up, for example, and Foresight. Let's try to make a full Galactic Republic team. So we'll see that, but obviously this is like some standard stuff, Padme Amidala. But again, we want to maximize sector global feat relationships. Light side Mandalorians, really only 2 ways of going about it. Obviously, they want to have you get the Bo-Katan Mandalore, but of course, only a few thousand people have, only a handful, really. But most folks, if you are gonna have to do it, you're gonna have to go the old school way of the non-legendary Bo-Katan Kryze, and that's a little bit more annoying. Again, if you can afford it, this might be one skipping out on potentially. Like likely, I might not want to do light side Mandalorians, you know. But again, we'll have to just wait and see. Grogu and Kelleran Beck. Now, there are gonna be a variety of ways of handling this. Might be able to just interject them in a couple of teams throughout the sectors. But overall, even though you don't need any Galactic Legends to do this Conquest, this is actually a very non-Galactic Legend friendly Conquest cycle. If you do have Rey, it's probably gonna be easiest just to put Kelleran Beck, Grogu inside of the Rey team. And the good news is, because of all the durability data that we're adding, he should hopefully survive for you guys. Again, if you don't have Kelleran Beck and Grogu, still very much possible to get the gold crate and maybe even red crate, as long as you can do some of the other stuff. Or because Grogu is a scoundrel, you might be able to kind of time into some scoundrel stuff with Beskar Mando to try to keep him alive, Dash Rendar, things like Chewbacca. Maybe you can try to get the guard on IG-12 and Grogu. Again, just throwing some ideas out there, through your way. And then of course you have the Stap, and really the Stap is only usable with General Grievous. If you don't have the Stap up and running, you know, it's again, might be when you're able to skip out. And again, as long as most of the sector feats look manageable, some of the global feats look kind of annoying, but again, not impossible. All right, people, let's go ahead and move on to Sector 1 feats. Come on over. So now that we looked at the global feats, we kind of have in the back of our mind what we need to tie in while we're doing these global feats here. So Sector 1, defeat enemies, 50 enemies of Jedi, very reasonable. Gain defense up 80 times, very easy. You know, armor shred, a little bit annoying, 30 armor shreds. You know, we have ways of handling that. Secret intel, only BB-8 has it, but hopefully a lot of you guys, especially our Lightspeed owners, you should hopefully have BB-8 inside of your roster. And then things like win of Hermit Yoda, win without using any Jedi Sith, Unaligned Force user, win with T3M4, win without using a Galactic Legend inside of your squad. Again, nothing that's really out of the ordinary, too difficult to handle. So, when it comes to this, obviously, again, you guys know how to make a Jedi team. You don't need me telling you. Of course, you have standard Jedi Knight Revan teams, but again, we really want to tie into the sectors, the global feats, and maximizing as many sector feats into one. And here's probably a great one here. Right here, something like this. With Grandmaster Yoda, we have things like General Kenobi, Ki-Adi-Mundi, General Anakin Skywalker, Barriss. Number one, that's a full Galactic Republic team, so boom, it's gonna help out the global feat. Secondly, we have lots of defense up between like Barriss, and then you can have Grandmaster Yoda constantly spread it throughout the team. And then of course you have armor shreds with General Anakin Skywalker, Ki-Adi-Mundi. Not too many armor shred characters. We'll show some other examples out there. Yeah, again, the armor shred's probably gonna be the most annoying one here. Again, not impossible. Or if you want to take the easier route, defense up has been kind of one of those weird spammy things we've had inside of Conquest for the past couple years now. Lots of ways to get defense up. Like this right here, you probably get defense up done in one battle. Clone Wars Chewie lead with a lot of defense up. Plo Koon has AoE defense up. Grandmaster can constantly spread the defense up. Barriss has AoE defense up. And then of course, I'm a Gundai is gonna have defense up as well. Like this right here, you can be done up defense up, but you can probably pace yourself where you can kind of multitask of global and the multiple sector feats with the team sort of like that. Again, a defense up should not be an issue. A lot of other characters that have it. If you don't have things like General Anakin Skywalker, Ki-Adi-Mundi, you can maybe go the light side Mandalorian route. You have armor shred on, the armor. You have armor shred on Sabine Wren. So, opportunities there again. It's gonna be a little bit annoying. Secret intel, only one character in the entire game that has secret intel, and that's BB-8. So you can throw BB-8 with the Jedi Training Ray, a Resistance team, Galactic Legend Ray, whatever you want. Likely, maybe the best way to try to capitalizing on BB-8 is gonna be maybe throwing it with General Grievous and the staff, trying to get the staff as many kills as possible for that global feat. Again, a little bit annoying with the staff thing, but there might be ways of making it manageable when you're just kind of doing stuff with the secret intel. Again, secret intel should happen fairly quickly. Next up, let's talk about Sector 2, my friends. Again, fairly standard stuff here. Win 14 battles with no attackers in your squad. Very easy. A lot of ways of doing that. Evade at least 100 attacks in battles won. That shouldn't be too bad. A lot of foresight spam strategies we have. Attempt to inflict plague 400 times. Either you have the Night Sisters or you don't. But good news is they're pretty low gear cheesy, so you shouldn't be too hard. Health steal up. Not too many characters have it, but there is one that I hope most of you guys have. And then standard sub, mini boss, win with 5 surviving, win with only dark side characters, win with Cad Bane or Sing surviving, and then win without any Jedi Sith or unaligned Force users in your squad. So, not too much crazy here. I think the Night Sisters are probably gonna be the best bang per buck team when it comes to Sector 2, because number one, it's gonna feed into the plague. Should be very easy, especially if you have Marin. Cakewalk. But the good news is, Night Sisters, there really aren't many attackers on the squad. I think there's only like one attacker that's Night Sister Spirit. Who cares about the other ones? The Initiate and Acolyte. I think Acolyte might be an attacker, but no one cares about that one. All these sisters here, support, tank. I can double check. I always forget that Asajj is a support, not an attacker character. Pretty wild stuff. So that's probably gonna be your best bang per buck. However, we have some other good opportunities here with maybe some Galactic Republic stuff. Number one, no attackers on this particular lineup that I put together here. Number two, it's Galactic Republic, so it's gonna work into your goal feat. Number three, it's got lots of evasion between, actually, ignore my first part. Hermit Yoda is not a Galactic Republic character. Put someone else in the Hermit Yoda spot if you want to get the full Galactic Republic bonus. But if you want to get through the evasion thing as much as possible, yeah, Foresight. Qui-Gon Jinn lead has a lot of Foresight, so sort of not really. He was kind of Galactic Republic, but he kind of grew out of it. If you want to do full Galactic Republic, just throw something else in there in the meantime. Barriss, Mace Windu, so at least you can get the full benefit of the Galactic Republic stuff. Moving on over to Health Steal. Again, not many ways of handling this, unfortunately. Palpatine's generally the best way to go. Or you have things like, Visas Mar has Health Steal up. Palpatine, Health Steal up, probably the best way of going about it. And then just finding ways to keep Palpatine taking as many turns as possible. So maybe doing the Blast Attack Weapon mod on Palpatine. Having things like Malik kind of be your tank. Dark Train Bastila to kind of support Palpatine. Again, trying to get as many Health Steals up. Again, it's not hard. Slightly annoying. But again, not impossible. So yeah, that's not too bad. Again, there's really this Sector 2 should be pretty simple. If you have Night Sisters and some Galactic Republic Jedi like Yoda and whatnot, this should be fairly manageable stuff to do. Moving on, let's get on to Sector 3, my friends. Sector 3 is where you might start finding a little bit of resistance. Not that type of resistance. A little bit of pushback and maybe your pursuit for Red Crate. And this might start demoting you down to the Gold Crate. Defeat 50 enemies with droid units. Gonna be great when we're doing our stat feats and other droid related stuff. Now, if you don't have Tuskens, this might be tough. Gain momentum 1,000 times. This is one of those things where I feel like I should probably take my Tuskens to a low purple gear. Yeah, you know, do as I say, not as I do. If you have the gear laying around, just trying to get your Tuskens up to even a low gear level to try to get as much momentum as possible might be beneficial. If you don't have Inquisitors, Purge might be off the menu for you. Gain Foresight 300 times is going to be very simple to do. And then win a Boba Fett sign of Jango surviving. You either have it or you don't. Win with any blah, 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 blah. You know how that goes. Win the battle with Boss Nass. Everyone should have a 3-star Boss Nass if you're watching this video, hopefully. So just throw that into whatever team you have and hope they survive, even at low gear. So let's go take a look at the magic numbers for Sector 3 and my recommendations here. So Sector 3 recommendations. If you're going for droid kills, this might be the perfect opportunity to try to get the stat in there. It's unfortunate the Grand Arena Omicron does not work for stat because the stat gets so many turns in Grand Arena. It wouldn't be nearly as hard to get all the stat kills if we had the Omicron. Again, it's not even a hot take. I feel like all of our Omicrons should work inside of Conquest. Somehow they can use the Omicrons against us. Star Killer gets his Omicron somehow when we have to fight him. Don't get me started on this right now. Anyways, we have a lot of droid foresight stuff here. So again, a lot of ways to form a droid team. You don't need me to walk you through that, but again, we want to try to capitalize on a few things. So if you're going to do a lot of droid kills, maybe throwing in things like IG-11, you know, BB-8 and all that, R2-D2 might be helpful to try to get as much possibilities when you're trying to multitask with foresight as well as the droid stuff. And again, if you don't have Jedi Training Ray, maybe you have yourself Shorty. And if you don't have any of that, plenty of ways to get droid kills. Dr. Affa, you'll get droid kills very quickly with this team here. Momentum, not much I can tell you about that. Only Tuskens or throwing Boba Fett inside of a bounty hunter team, and might take a while. You know, it's an option. You know, if push comes to shove, and that's the breaking point between red crate, gold crate. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Purge, not a lot of ways of handling it. You have full Inquisitor teams, well, with Grand Inquisitor, Reva, and the other guys, or this has kind of been around for a tale as long as times since Purge has been a feat since, what was it, 2022 inside of Conquest. Palpatine, throw a bunch of Inquisitor in there. It's another way of managing it. Again, if you have the Inquisitor up and running in Palpatine, you know, it should be one you do. It's not gonna be as easy as the Reva one, but nonetheless, is what it is. And here's that super foresight spam team. Now, unfortunately, Kellenbeck is an attacker, so you can't do the no attacker thing in the previous sector. Would make it so much easier, but if you're just looking to blaze through the foresight thing, Qui-Gon Jinn, every time at the start of battle, foresight. Anytime someone dies, foresight. And then you have Hermit Yoda, Grandmaster Yoda, Kellenbeck, and General Kenobi. Foresight up the wazoo. It's going to be the best way of handling all that. Again, fairly manageable stuff so far that we got cooking. But now we move on to Sector 4 here. And Sector 4's, you know, it's got fairly manageable stuff here. Let's go take a look. Sector 4. What we have here, first and foremost, defeat 50 enemies with Imperial Troopers. We have basically 3 Imperial Trooper teams in the game right now. You know, they're not fully fleshed out, but mostly fleshed out. Ability block 6 times, tons of ability blocks out there. Stealth might be annoying, but again, there's gonna be ways to handle it. 120 times for stealth. Win at least 14 battles with full squad of rebels. Should be very manageable. Such a bare bone team inside the game. And then we have Jedi Cal Kestis and all these other usual things, you know, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. Again, if you don't have Cal, don't have Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, SOL, we're gonna move on. But again, you can get Gold Crate and even Red Crate without the need of a lot of these more exclusive characters that you might not have inside of your roster. So let's go take a look at what we have. So there's really 3 trooper teams that you have. You have your standard Veers team, you got an Iden team, and you even have a Dark Trooper Gideon team. Even though Dark Trooper Gideon's not an Imperial Trooper, he's an Imperial Remnant. The other folks here are probably going to be getting most of the kills. So again, you have ways of going about it. If you don't need Gideon at all, but if you do need the Gideon, you could do the Sector 4 stuff if you have them, however. So this shouldn't be too bad. And the good thing is, since we're not having like Amplify Agony, the Thermal Exhaust, the good news is you don't have to worry about the thermal detonator stealing your kills. You just got to make sure that the Imperial Troopers get the right amount of power with the data disc and the right turn order to get those Sector 4 kills you need. Moving on. Stealth. Now, there are going to be a variety of ways of handling stealth. You know, you can do R2-D2, Darth Maul are probably going to be your bang per buck units. Darth Maul, start the battle, everyone gets stealth, and you have loads of ability blocks from Vader, Talon, Bastila, Shanduka. So again, trying to multitask. And again, you don't need a Galactic Legend to do this, but again, you know, let's be pragmatic. A lot of you guys probably have mastered Kenobi. A lot of ways to try to maximize Galactic Republic wins as well as stealth. You have R2-D2 with the AoE stealth effect. Master Kenobi can keep resetting it. We have Tech in here for another round of stealth to do like another layer on top of these guys. So again, you know, other ways of making it happen. Then of course, Tech with his, you know, translation might help out as well to try to get as many stealths out there. But then we have Rebels. Rebels are playing a big part in this conquest cycle. A lot of Rebel teams out there. Again, I don't need to walk you through all them because you guys know them. So obviously you have your standard Commander Luke team, which will be helpful, especially when we get to the next sector. But you really want to try to multitask a little bit. So you have your Rebel stealth with, for example, RT2 putting up under stealth. Old Ben can do the mind trick. So again, boom, full Rebel team, got some stealth, ability blocks locked in there. Now, if you really want to speed up the ability blocks and stealth, you might do something like this. The only unfortunate part is Sana Staros. It's not a Rebel. I always fall into that. Anytime I look for Sana Staros, I'm looking in the Rebel tag, like, where is she? And I remember, she's not a Rebel. She's a Scoundrel. So you will not get the full Rebel bonus. So maybe this isn't going to be really ideal, but if you really want to get through those ability blocks fast and the stealth, with this combo right here, Rolo, Rebel Officer Leorgana, is going to be spamming lots of her ability blocks there. Stormtrooper and Cara Dune will do the whole combo, so you get tons and tons of turns. The enemy gets done. And then R2 will do a lot of stealth. So a lot of ways of handling it. Again, it's all about just finding the right team that can maximize as many things as once here. And then we have one more sector we got to do, and that, my friends, is Sector 5. Sector 5 here. Again, this might be where you might run into some problems. If you don't have Inquisitors, all right, yeah, that's going to be an issue. Win 14 battles with no tanks, easy, inflict blind. Annoying, not impossible. You know, very simple if you have Rebels up and running, especially 3PO and Chewie, because he's going to tap into the evasion down. Then if you don't have Darth Bane, Bo-Katan, Mandalore, it's going to kind of suck. But again, Red Crate is totally possible even without him. So take a look at Sector 5 to wrap this party up. We have Inquisitors. If you have Reva, you're playing life on easy mode. But again, if not, you could do this right here, which is similar to our earlier feats that we had with the Purge. This Palpatine, bunch of Inquisitors, hope to run a massive Terminator train. You're good to go. Galactic Republic, no tanks. So you only need no tanks. But again, I would recommend trying to tap into the Galactic Republic global feat while you're doing the no tank thing. A lot of ways of doing it. You know, use your Master Kenobi if you have it. If you don't have Master Kenobi, things like Shakti and clones will be a great bet. Just make sure you don't throw in 5s, don't throw in Wrecker. You want to try to, again, focus on the no tank thing. A lot of ways of handling it. If you don't have Galactic Republic, do something else. Use Imperial Troopers. Your Imperial Troopers have no tank as long as you don't throw in Shore Trooper and stuff like that. But again, multitask is the name of the game. And then you have Commander Luke, bang per buck. This is going to kill 2 birds, 1 stone. You have 3PO and Chewie with the ability to get blind on the special ability. Nice. And of course, every time he's assisting, he's applying evasion down on the basic. Though that's really the best way of handling it. There are other characters that might have blind, you know, for example, 8th Brother, if you find yourself a Jedi team out there. But I think the Rebel one's probably going to be your best bang per buck transaction. And that's pretty much it, my friends. Very simple stuff, of course, a lot of chore stuff, you know, but again, nothing that seems super impossible except the couple things that might annoy you with the things you might not have, like Gideon, like Cal, like Bo-Katan, like Darth Bane. It annoys me they throw those in, but nonetheless, we could still hit that Red Crate, and worst case scenario again, getting yourselves the ability to have a lot of breathing room to get the Gold Crate is really what we're trying to strive for at the end of the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm going to leave additional resources down below like I always do. If you need some more help with regards to finding specific characters that have specific abilities, I'm going to leave a link down to SWGOH events, and I'm also going to leave you a link to SWGOH for life. Both fantastic resources. Highly recommend you check out SWGOH for life. They have a day-by-day planner for Conquest. They also have their recommendation on what to skip, what to do. Again, there's pretty much a commonality with all the advice out there, but I want to make sure I give you as much of it as possible. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, comment down below, and I hope to see you in May with the Quad Main. Are we really going to Quad Main, Gary? I don't know. Hope to see you with Quad Main in a few months, and as always, remember, it's great to be a Quad Main today. Just play the outro.
Oh, it's great to be in the Empire today. The sun never sets.